Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining me today for the next in the series of Women in Tech Lunch and Learns. Today, I'm joined by a good friend of ours, Mr. Mark Burnett, all the way from Jamaica. Mark is a transformation expert and he's going to take us through some of his stories and his advice on having resilience in project management. So without further ado, Mark, over to you.
Yes, thank you so much for that, Kevin. I really appreciate the invitation to be here today to, I believe, share my unique story from both sides of the fence, I would say, you know, being thrown into the trenches as an accidental project manager, working in the Caribbean in the telecommunication, IT, digital transformation space, working across 19 different countries, over 30 different markets, just my experience there, just working with people, working with different culture, you know, and just observing how powerful resilience is as a skill for project managers. And so that was one. And then on the other side, where I pretty much became an accidental project manager again, because I was in an unfortunate situation where I almost lost my right arm to amputation, and I had to use resilience in project management to navigate those challenges and overcome. So, I mean, both sides of the fence is just different ways of looking at project management, So I'm pretty much here today to highlight the importance of resiliency in project management, because everything that we do in project, everything is a project in life. And everything that you do, if you're not resilient, you will not be able to overcome challenges, you know. So that's just pretty much it for today. So let's jump right in, guys. So, I mean, before we move forward, I mean, just tell me, these are my, I would say, top three, you know, understanding of some challenges that I've seen in some of the major projects that I've seen, whether that might be, a corporate project or life, So, and of course, I mean, there are many others. I mean, there are no one size fits all in project management. And I'm sure that you guys would have some that you'd want to share with me. But so let's start. So adapting to change, So in any project, just the environments are always dynamic, So we definitely need to be flexible, and so we need to, as persons, design ourselves or recreate ourselves to be adaptable to change, or our team, or sometimes even our culture. We need to redesign or recreate or co-create that, so that we're flexible, we're agile to adapt to these dynamic environment. Um, there are many advantages and disadvantages in a dynamic environment, a lot of opportunities as well, you know. So when another one, I mean, when we look at the risk mitigation, the strategies to manage unpredictability. So of course, in any dynamic and unpredictable environment, there will always be risk. And it's how we look at risk as people, as humans, as a team, that will allow us to plan properly, um, plan our risk properly, and to even plan to mitigate them, you know. So this is very, very important. And for these risks, of course, a lot of times we look at risk as threats, but there are a lot of opportunities in risk, there are many different ways how we can work together and transfer these risks into positive opportunities. And then the third one, resource constraints. I would say, most, if not all, of the projects that I've seen, there is always resource constraints. It will never be a situation where you will have everything that you need. And so you will need to find effective ways of utilizing the limited resources or the scenarios that you have, and so whether that might be, working closely with your people and empower them, giving them confidence, beyond belief, just allowing them to fail fast at times, to learn quickly, to develop some skills along the way that will be helpful in areas where you might need an extra body or something like this, and so, yeah, I mean, resource constraints will always be there, and it is in our best interest to be adaptive to change and to look at our risk in a positive way and plan and mitigate against them, that will allow us to deal with these resource constraints. So I would say, I mean, these are the top three, challenges that I've seen across most, if not all, the projects that I've worked on, whether that may be a business or a corporate project, or one which is a life project, as I said, that situation with my arm. So I would like to ask you guys, like, what's your understanding of resilience, based on your experiences? If you could just do a quick self-reflection, what are your thoughts on resilience when you reflect on your work experience? Okay. Okay. So thanks to that, guys. So, so here, just after understanding the challenges that we face, and of course, someone or a team will ask, how do you build this environment? Because most people say that, project management is a very difficult role, and you're always working in chaotic, volatile environment. So how can we build a resilient culture? Is it that easy? So I would say to you guys, it's never easy to build a resilient team, a resilient environment, a resilient culture, and by extension, a resilient DNA. And so there are three steps that I have identified while working in projects, in across 19 countries. And so the first one I would say is the people power is the superpower. So collaborative teamwork, that's very, very important. As people, as human beings, we're not able to go the full distance if we try to do things by ourselves. And so it's very important to empower each other, try to understand each other, the expectation from our different stakeholders, to see our strengths and our weakness, and try to fill the gaps, try to work with each other, be kind to each other, empathetic, the intelligence. Sometimes you might have multinational themes, persons from different ethnic backgrounds, so it's very important for us to try to understand each other, and by understanding each other, we're better able to build that collaborative team effort that is required, just be that unity in facing the challenges together. What I've observed is that when you have a team, that is very collaborative. When challenges arise, you will see less, persons pushing, trying to blame each other for something. There's a lot of confidence, and if there are challenges and there are persons who know something or someone who doesn't know something, they will be comfortable to interact and work with each other. And so this is a way how to build resilience. You have transparent communication, person to each other. And this doesn't really happen overnight. It takes effort from day one by just getting to know people, getting to know where they are from, getting to know their strengths, their weaknesses, their likes and dislikes. And then the second one is transparent communication, sharing information and insights openly. So what I've observed is that we're only able to do this once we're collaborative, so we build that relationship where we trust in each other, and so we can openly, ask questions, we can openly share ideas with each other. And the third one is the proactive planning. So, after developing this collaborative teamwork among the team members, and that communication flowing between each other, that trust between the team members, the project managers or the project leaders and the different teams, the client, which includes the client, we are better able to do proactive planning as a team. And this is one where you will get true buy-in from your team members, the different work breakdown packages that is required to be delivered. We're better able to discuss that. We're better able to discuss that in the project planning, the risk planning, the risk mitigation, scope management planning, all of that. We're better able to do these things. So in other words, it allows us to anticipate and prepare for the potential obstacles. So which means that we now become very agile and nimble. So we're able to respond to anything that comes our way. So, as I said earlier, I just shared a snippet of my, story becoming an accidental project manager in the corporate world, and then, becoming an accidental project manager on the other side, which is life. So I'm just going to share some two examples, to case study, just overcoming adversity. So one of the things that I've learned from these experiences is, one, in any complex, challenging environment, one where you're trying to build a resilient DNA, resilient culture, a resilient team, resilient ways how to respond to challenges. First, we have to have the capability to identify these challenges, assessing the obstacles and the complexities, and two, after identifying the challenges, implementing solutions. So just applying like innovative problem solving approach. And this would come from that collaborative team effort and that transparent communication, and putting in place proactive planning. And then this I would say is a critical one as well, celebrating success. So it's very, very important to have that human piece in anything that you're doing, even in our project, so we win together, and we win together, and we might lose together. So we're always in support of each other. So whenever something happens, you should try to recognize great efforts, Even in the case of like failing fast, there's positive from failing fast because you're failing to learn something quickly that you will use to empower the other stages of the project. So celebrating success is a very important piece. And so let me just share with you, you know, when I was thrown in the trenches as a project manager, you know, in the digital transformation, the telecommunication, and the ICT space, these are the three steps that I would use to overcome all the challenges that I face, you know. So there are so many things happening, but you have to prioritize by identifying your challenges, you know, the obstacles, what it is that the client want, you know, what it is that makes them think, you know, the expectation management. And then in a flexible way, you know, you would implement solutions to these small tasks or these milestones that will make them happy and that will build trust. And then from there, we will find ways how to build the relationships by celebrating success, because this is an important piece to human beings. And on the other side, you know, a life project manager in that situation with my arm, while I was in the hospital, of course, that was just a different style of project management. You know, I wasn't using a Gantt chart or I wasn't using any hybrid project management tool. But of course, I was dealing with people, you know, and in the hospital, it's not a pleasant environment. So once you're able to that people, yeah, you can do wonders. So one of the things that I identified was the power of empathy and emotional intelligence. So this is what I use. I would just identify some of the challenges that I had. So like I realized that my hand situation was a trial and error for the doctors. They didn't see anything like that before, you know, so it was just trial and error. But they feed off my energy. So even though they were the experts, they also feed off my energy. My energy gave them confidence to go the extra mile, to figure out ways how to help me, and by extension, help us, you know. So, you know, just identifying the challenge. So one of the challenges was no one knew what was happening. And so they were feeding off my energy. I was feeding off their energy. That was a challenge. And so implementing a solution, the solution that I implemented was during the nights, I would read something that would put me in a positive mind, that would send me to bed in a positive mindset. So when I wake up and when it's time for the doctor's visit, I would be ready and just waiting for them to hear what they are saying, or if they have any suggestions for me. I would be happy to listen and to see how I could do whatever it is that they're saying. You know, if it is something that is difficult, how is it that I could execute from my hand to make them feel positive about the situation, and just to energize them as well as the experts, you know. And then after that, like what I would also do is that on in the hospital, I would also find different ways of visiting them at their respective offices, and you know, sitting and talking, have great conversations, or just to even give them a token or something from time to time, you know, something that I think they might like, you know, and just doing this in an iterative and agile way, and just keep that high vibe, you know. And yeah, I was there for 6 months, and I was able to recover from that arm situation. So now that we know all of this, I would say some key takeaways that we have here. You know, we spoke a lot about adaptability. fostering a culture of flexibility. That's very, very important. And just continuous improvement, whether you know it or not, just being collaborative and being open in communication and just being open with your relationship and trusting in your team members trusting, you will realize that some form of iterative learning is happening, and whether you know it or not, growth is also happening. Mindset growth in behavior, growth in the mindset, that which is adding value to the progress of the project. And just embracing innovation, and innovation, a lot of times we talk about innovation, we're thinking about technology, but innovation can just be in our mindset, in our behavior, in the way how we interact as human beings, just exploring new approaches to problem solving. So yes, thanks again, guys. Thanks for attending and allowing me to share my story today. So if you guys need to touch base with me, you can always reach out to me on LinkedIn, shoot me a message, or follow me for content. As it says here, talk with Mark and discover your spark. I have been helping. I'm a transformation expert who has been helping budding professionals from across the globe to in their project endeavors, whether or not they are looking to upskill in their profession, or they are facing some kind of adversity or challenges on the job, or I mean, this is something that I'm very, very passionate about, and I've been just empowering professionals to become passionate project management professionals.
Thank you, Mark. I have
Thank you,
one
guys.
observation and one question, if you don't mind. So my observation is, hearing your story about you in hospital, actually, I think it's an interesting take, or a great way of approaching managing stakeholders, and the fact that you recognise that the energy that you brought to the table was going to influence their behaviour and their thoughts and things. So you, by making sure that you had a positive mindset, that would rub off on them and be contagious, and then therefore that would almost motivate them to help you in your recovery in a better way. I think quite often we talk about managing difficult stakeholders in projects, and it's great that you can reflect on actually how yourself and what you bring to the table impacts them.
Yes.
And the second piece I've got is a question. So yeah, great presentation on building resilience into the project plan and all that kind of stuff to make sure that projects do succeed. But you did speak about the projects that do fail, because obviously that does happen. Do you have any advice for people on how they themselves can be more resilient and can bounce back quicker from failure in projects?
Yeah, so I would say the first thing, I mean, there's no one size fits all for different individuals and based on their personal experience. But something that I've noticed is like self-reflection, So, something doesn't go according to plan. First, you need to reflect on what is happening and to see what are your capabilities. If it was something that you were able to avoid, or if there were some ways how you could have mitigated what happened. And I would say once you have that self-reflection, and it's just to take action from there, whatever the action is. But what I do realize though is like, sometimes as human beings, we don't like to feel vulnerable. And sometimes when things happen, and we do the self-reflection, we identify what took place. Sometimes it's just a case of, if you are the reason why, it's just taking self accountability, and just use that as a learning experience, and like a growth experience. You feel some type of way because you're the leader, but this is one of our responsibility as leaders, like to take responsibility, to take accountability, to be vulnerable, and to use this as a stepping stone to empower not only ourselves but even other team members. And even from this experience, we're able to see things that are happening to other team members because we've already experienced this ourselves.
Awesome. Thank you, mate. Appreciate that. No, great. So as Mark's already said, he's available to be reached out to. Contact details on the screen. I love that strapline, Mark. Talk with Mark and discover your spark. So if you want to discover your spark, then feel free to reach out to Mark via those channels, LinkedIn or email. And I promise you won't regret it. He's a great guy. So thanks again for your time, Mark. Really appreciate that today, and look forward to seeing more of you in the future.
So thank you so much, Kevin, for having me and allowing me to share my story with the audience. Thank you so much, guys.